Throughout the history of entertainment, properly representing ethnicities has been a challenge that we've often fallen short of. Yellowface. The practice of white actors changing their appearance with makeup in order to play East Asian characters in movies, plays, etc. Whitewash. To alter an original story by casting a white performer in a role based on a non-white person or fictional character. Stakeholders in the entertainment industry share both the right and responsibility to cast Asian actors in Asian roles and to portray these characters authentically without resorting to yellowface or whitewashing. Miss Saigon was on Broadway in the 1990s and is about the Vietnam War. June 2, 1991, at the 45th Annual Tony Awards, Miss Saigon won multiple Tonys, including Best Leading Actress in a Musical,
Lea Salonga, Miss Saigon,
and Best Leading Actor in a Musical.
Jonathan Pryce.
Behind the success of Miss Saigon is a complicated controversy that includes both yellowface and whitewashing. September 20th, 1989, the first performance of Miss Saigon took place in London. Jonathan Pryce is a white actor and was cast as the half-Vietnamese engineer in Miss Saigon. He wore eye prosthetics to make his eyes slanted and smaller and bronzer to darken his skin, otherwise known as yellowface.
Prosthetics. Prosthetics. It's a light, sort of very light latex, which is a false lid. The great thing about them, no acting required once you've got those on. You just stand there.
All people think they'll grow hair. Oh, the American dream.
When Miss Saigon was in London, no impactful protests occurred, but once it was announced that Miss Saigon was moving to Broadway, the use of yellowface and whitewashing caught the attention of more people, including Asian actors and directors such as Francis Ju, B.D. Wong, and David Henry Hwang, who all wrote letters to Actors' Equity.
I happen to be the person who wrote the letter to Equity objecting to Pryce's casting.
I interviewed Francis Ju, who played the engineer when Miss Saigon was touring.
So when the whole Miss Saigon controversy came up, when Jonathan Pryce was cast in the role of the engineer in Miss Saigon for the Broadway production, I wrote a letter to Actors' Equity.
The Actors' Equity Association represents actors and directors in live theater in the United States. They were also the ones who had to accept Jonathan Pryce's visa in order for him to be able to stay in the United States for the amount of time he needed. But due to the amount of backlash he was receiving, Actors' Equity decided to deny his visa and refused to let him play the engineer. This caused the producer of Miss Saigon, Cameron McIntosh, to speak up, saying that he found Equity's decision a disturbing violation of the principles of artistic integrity and freedom. Equity members, including Charlton Heston and John Malkovich, threatened to leave the association if the ban on Pryce was not reversed. The New York mayor at that time, Ed Koch, also shared his views on the controversy, stating, "When is censorship not censorship? When it's being exercised by Actors' Equity." Actors' Equity ended up accepting Jonathan Pryce's visa and Miss Saigon moved to Broadway. Jonathan Pryce also stopped using yellowface.
How many Asians are offered the opportunity to be the lead in a new Broadway musical? Not very many. So why are Asians being discriminated against? And why shouldn't they be given the opportunity to play a character that is more like them than Jonathan Pryce was?
Yellowface started due to the Chinese Exclusion Act preventing Asian immigrants from immigrating to the United States. This meant that when an Asian actor was needed, there were none. Directors started inventing what they thought Asians looked like. Most of the time, buck teeth, eye prosthetics, and makeup to darken the skin was used on white actors portraying Asians. For example, the white actor Mickey Rooney used yellowface while playing the Japanese character Mr. Yuniyoshi in the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's. May 6, 1882. On this day, President Chester A. Arthur signed the Chinese Exclusion Act. This act provided a 10-year ban on Chinese laborers immigrating to the United States. The act also impacted Chinese immigrants already living in the States by making it so that if any of them left the country, they would have to acquire certifications to be able to re-enter. Chinese immigration to the United States rapidly declined after the enactment of the Chinese Exclusion Act. When the Chinese Exclusion Act expired in 1892, Congress decided to extend the act for 10 more years in the form of the Geary Act. The Geary Act was put in place to regulate Chinese immigration in the 20th century, and in 1902 the act was made permanent. When China was part of the Allied nations during World War II in 1943, Congress removed all acts, but a yearly quota of 105 Chinese immigrants was established following the repeal. In all, the exclusion era lasted for more than 60 years. The first big step towards Asians being treated fairly was Anna May Wong. Anna May Wong was the first Asian American actor to appear in Hollywood. She landed her first role in the film Bits of Life in 1921 when she was only 17 years old. In the film The Good Earth, everyone expected the lead role to be given to Anna May Wong because it was an Asian character, but instead, the directors decided to cast Louise Rayner, who was a German actress. Anna May Wong was never able to play the lead role in a movie, but she helped Asians be properly represented in Hollywood.
Throughout history, Asians have been caricatured and even often denied the right to play ourselves.
Yellowface is a play written by David Henry Hwang about his life during the time the Miss Saigon controversy was happening, and Francis Ju is also in this play.
I, helped develop the show. He would call me up and I'd go to this place called the Lark Play Development Center here in New York, and where playwrights would read bits of their plays or whole plays in front of other playwrights.
Yellowface the play was off Broadway in 2007 and had a revival recently in 2024. Yellowface also has fictional elements in its storyline.
Does he look Asian to you?
I have to cast this in a way that feels right to me, and I can tell an Asian when I see one.
You're Asian, right?
Well, my ancestry is really mixed up. Marcus is mixed race Asian.
Yellowface. In this day and age, Asian parts must only ever be played by Asian actors.
David Henry Hwang uses comedy and satire to show the use of yellowface in theater and the responsibilities actors have to accurately and authentically play oneself. Yellowface is not common today, but examples of whitewashing have happened in the past 10 years. Some white actors have been cast to play Asian characters. For example, in 2017, Scarlett Johansson was cast as the lead female, a Japanese character, in the live-action adaptation of Ghost in the Shell. In 2015, Emma Stone was cast to play a half-Hawaiian, half-Chinese character in the movie Aloha. There are more opportunities now for Asian actors. For an example, all the lead roles in Crazy Rich Asians were played by Asian actors.
Crazy Rich Asians is nominated tonight for Best Picture, Musical or Comedy.
The love that so many immigrants have for this country and why they love this country so much, the kinds of opportunities and ideals that this country represents, equality and justice and inclusion and, social mobility, meaning if you can imagine it and you work hard enough and you're smart enough, you can do anything. That's what the country says it believes in. That's what it promises to people. And then sometimes it doesn't live up to those things. And so I loved showing both how an immigrant can love the country and be disappointed by the country at the same time.
25 years after Miss Saigon opened on Broadway, Cameron McIntosh admitted in an interview that the casting of a white actor as the engineer was one of his biggest mistakes in his career, and that he should have cast someone of Asian descent. On May 1st, 2025, Yellowface the play was nominated for 3 Tonys, including Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play, Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Play, and Best Revival of a Play. Though there is still a long way to go, a lot has been accomplished in the past 100 years. From the Chinese Exclusion Act being removed to having only Asian actors in a movie, everybody should have the right to play themselves. But more importantly, all stakeholders in the entertainment industry, including producers, film and casting directors, and actors, share the responsibility to cast Asian actors in Asian roles and to portray these characters authentically without resorting to yellowface or whitewashing.